Carson Hocevar coming through as well. Oh, well.
Yeah. He just didn't want to lift. He tried to turn left, ends up catching the 44 in the rear bumper.
Carson Hocevar's 2025 season just went from frustrating to potentially career-altering. The young driver has already had his share of controversies this year, but what happened at Kansas Speedway and what NASCAR did next has ignited a new wave of criticism. Fans were already divided on Hocevar's style of racing, but after this latest incident, opinions are shifting fast. It started off like any high-stakes race weekend. Kansas Speedway, known for producing wild finishes and playoff-shaking moments, delivered all the drama it's famous for. Hocevar was in the mix, showing signs of a strong run that could have ended inside the top 10. But as the race neared its conclusion, everything unraveled in spectacular fashion. First came a collision with a slower car that set him back. Then he was caught in a massive restart crash involving nearly a dozen cars. Finally, with just a few laps remaining, he spun once more, and that's when things went from bad to worse.
Winner, and a caution's out.
Caution.
Carson Hocevar.
Stranded on the backstretch with 4 flat tires, Hocevar found himself unable to move. Frustration clearly boiling over, he attempted to rev the engine and spin his tires, presumably trying to re-engage the car and get rolling again. But the problem wasn't just mechanical, it was situational. Safety workers were already approaching his vehicle, ready to assist. In NASCAR, that's a serious line you do not cross. NASCAR wasted no time. In their post-race review, officials handed down a $50,000 fine for what they labeled a behavioral violation. The issue wasn't just that Hocevar spun his tires, it was that he did so while safety officials were near his car, potentially putting lives at risk. It's one of the sport's clearest boundaries. Drivers must yield to safety personnel, no matter the race conditions or personal frustration. NASCAR cited member conduct violations under Sections 4.4, B, and 4.4, D of their rulebook, which cover actions deemed unsafe or detrimental to the sport. It's a black mark Hocevar didn't need, especially considering this isn't his first run-in with discipline. Earlier in the season, he was fined another $50,000 by his own team, Spire Motorsports, for making derogatory comments during NASCAR's inaugural Mexico City race. While he publicly apologized and completed sensitivity training, the damage lingered. Now, with this new penalty, the narrative around him is beginning to cement. A talented driver with a recklessness that keeps putting him on the wrong side of the headlines. The Kansas situation has stirred heated reactions throughout the NASCAR world. On one hand, some fans sympathize with Hocevar. After all, he was having a strong run before being caught in others' messes. His frustration was understandable, they argue, but even those voices tend to stop short of defending his final move. NASCAR's rule about safety crews is well known, respected, and rarely violated. Inside the garage, the mood was even less forgiving. Several team officials and drivers privately voiced concern that Hocevar's actions, intentional or not, created a dangerous environment. One safety worker was reportedly within arm's reach of the number 77 when Hocevar hit the throttle. That detail alone, say insiders, justified NASCAR's swift punishment. Publicly, Spire Motorsports hasn't pushed back on the fine. In fact, silence from the team may signal alignment with NASCAR's view, or at the very least, a recognition that defending the action would only stoke the flames. Hocevar himself has remained quiet on the matter, with no official statement released in the days since the penalty was announced. But silence doesn't mean there's no fallout. In a sport where perception matters almost as much as performance, Hocevar's brand is taking a hit. Sponsors pay close attention to headlines, so do team owners. And while raw talent gets you in the door, professionalism keeps you there. Hocevar is learning that the hard way. This also isn't just about one incident. NASCAR has worked hard in recent years to build a culture that prioritizes safety, not just in the cars but in every aspect of race operations. From strict concussion protocols to how quickly safety crews respond after a wreck, every detail is scrutinized. That's why what happened in Kansas struck such a nerve. The fine also sends a message from NASCAR leadership. Rules will be enforced regardless of a driver's popularity or past performance. The $50,000 figure may seem harsh, but it's a clear warning to everyone else in the garage. Respect the safety crews or face severe consequences. NASCAR has fined drivers before for safety-related infractions, but rarely does it draw this much attention. Looking forward, the pressure is now squarely on Hocevar. He has to prove not just that he can race clean, but that he can mature. Every mistake from this point on will carry added weight. Every outburst, every post-race comment will be filtered through the lens of this Kansas moment. Can he bounce back? Of course. NASCAR is filled with comeback stories, and Hocevar still has youth and skill on his side. But the spotlight is hotter now, and any misstep could cost him more than just another fine. It could threaten his standing in a series that's becoming more competitive and scrutinized by the day. What makes this all the more disappointing is that Hocevar came into 2025 with legitimate momentum. After a breakout year in the Truck Series and some promising flashes in the Xfinity ranks, many analysts pegged him as a future Cup Series star. His raw speed, racecraft, and adaptability were evident. He was aggressive, but calculated, emotional, but passionate. That edge was supposed to make him a standout, not a liability. Now, all of that potential is being reevaluated, and while fans may debate whether NASCAR's punishment was too harsh or justified, the fact remains: Hocevar is at a crossroads. One path leads to maturity, leadership, and fulfilling the promise that got him this far. The other leads to missed opportunities and a reputation that no amount of speed can fix. Veteran drivers have already taken notice. Some have quietly mentored younger racers on how to handle the spotlight, the pressure, and most importantly, the responsibility that comes with being on the national stage. Whether Hocevar will seek out those voices or continue to operate in his own lane remains to be seen. And then there's the fan base. NASCAR has one of the most loyal, vocal, and passionate audiences in all of sports. Drivers who win them over can build legacies that last decades. But alienating that base, especially through safety concerns or disrespectful behavior, can be career-limiting. Hocevar's next few moves, both on and off the track, will either start to repair the damage or deepen it. Kansas may be over, but for Carson Hocevar, the fallout is just beginning. He's been fined, scrutinized, and criticized. But this could also be a turning point, a chance to reset, grow up, and prove he belongs not just on the track, but at the top. The question now, what will Hocevar do next? His response could define his career more than any checkered flag. Will he come back stronger, more composed, and aware of the responsibility that comes with racing at NASCAR's highest level, or will this be the start of a spiral that overshadows his talent? Only time will tell, but the NASCAR world will be watching his next move closely.